Hi, I'm Samantha Trattner for Sakura. A couple years ago, my mom showed me their awesome paint set, and today I'm going to show you all the cool things you can do with it. We're going to be working on a piece very similar to this, and this may look very difficult, but it's really very easy. All you really need is a paintbrush, paint, and then the water does most of the work for you. It's really very cool. So let's paint. So let me show you the tools that I use. It comes in a handy kit. This is the small one. It comes with a brush, a sponge, and 12 paints. The one I prefer to use comes with a bigger brush you can fill with water. But for this technique, I prefer to use a different kind of brush. It also comes with this mixing palette. I will warn you that it comes with a coating when it comes straight from the factory, so the paint won't stay well. So I have to clean it off with a paper towel and water before I will put paint on it. What you do is you take some water and you put it in the water holder. And then you can either use your brush to mix your paint, to wet your paint, or you can take the water dropper and wet it that way. Now I'm going to show you how you can mix some colors. I usually start with the blues and the greens. As you can see, this palette has not really been wiped well, so I'm going to stop. I always have paper towels near me. In case I mess up, I'm usually able to blot it out. After you clean it, it should be able to stick a little bit better. So let's try that again. There it is. There we go. And then I start painting. I always start in the corner because it's easiest for me, because you always want to keep it wet, and if you start from like the middle, it's hard to keep every edge wet. When you're blending, all you really need is two colors and then water. If you feel that you want a little bit more of a color in it, you take a little bit more of that color and you throw it right in. Changing colors, going to move to pinks and purples. Again, starting at the very edge. As you start progressing in it, you can change the colors a little bit, start leading more into the pink rather than the purple. And if it starts to dry out at the very end, just grab a little bit more water and paint right back over it. Now for the background, as you saw earlier, I like to use this slimy orange color, or kind of yellowy orange. So what I do is I pick a corner, make sure my brush is nice and wet, and I start in the corner and I go up, and I usually outline the edges, or some of them, so when I paint it in, I don't get all sloppy. So now I think that I'm going to do a more blue and a dark blue purple leaf, because I want some variation in my colors, but I always want it to look good together. So I'm taking an AP Art History class this year, and we're learning about the primary colors and the secondary colors. You have red, blue, and yellow as your primary colors, and the secondary colors are orange, purple, and green. Speaking of orange, I think I'm going to do an orange and pink leaf next. I tend to like to stay in one area of the color wheel when I'm blending colors, so you don't get anything outrageous looking. Again, starting from the edge, keeping your paintbrush wet. And then for the very end, I actually just go straight into the pink and grab some pink. No two paintings are alike. Every painting is different. It each has its own individual personality to it. My palette has begun to collect a bit too much paint, so now I'm going to show you how I clean it. I always have paper towels around me, and I just dip one in the water thing, move it back and forth a couple times, and then I clean the tray up here. I usually dab my sponges a little bit so the water doesn't build up and get all goes. Then I refill it with water. It's really very simple to clean your palette. You also want to take very good care of it. I do not recommend mixing your colors in the actual colors themselves because then it will get all dirty. And if you want the pure color, you won't be able to get to it until you like really clean it. Now I have the progression that I want to use with the colors. I'm going to start with the blue. And if you don't think it blends right, just add a little bit more water to it. It's really very simple to blend. It may look complicated, I promise it really isn't. Now I'm going to do another leaf. I haven't used any browns yet, so I'm going to mix a bunch of browns into like an orangey kind of color. You can also paint with gel pens. Now this is a very cool thing. I prefer to use the brush that they give you for this one. I'm going to start blending 2 colors, possibly 3. Again, start from on the edge. It's very important that when you're doing this, you get water on it really quickly so it will actually blend. The very cool thing about this is if you want to define your edges a little bit more, you can always just add a little bit more of the gel pen to it and it will just blend into the colors. I think I'm actually going to throw in a 3rd color right at the very end. Now I'm going to show you how you can do it with the Jelly Roll glitter. It's very important that you keep it wet, and as soon as you finish getting the color in that you want, that you put water down right away. This one gives you a very glittery feel to it. I really love the way it looks. And then as I said before, if you want to define the outer edges, just take your pen back over the water and outline it. When you're done, your piece will look something like this, but remember, no 2 pieces are the same. Each is very unique in its own way. This piece will also be available online, unpainted, so you can paint it in yourself. When you print it out, I recommend using the Canson watercolor paper. The quality is so good, it's really amazing, the interaction between the paint and the paper. There are also many different variations you can do of any piece, so if you print it out twice, you don't have to do it the same way. In fact, it will never come out the same way, even if you try. This is one of my favorite pieces. I love hearts, I love painting, and I hope you love it too. Have fun.